So I picked a quote from my. When you dance, there are two of you, your spiritual self and your physical self. The spirit has to dance. My cultural artifact would be my pareo skirt and this wrist piece that I made. It's made of rooster feathers, mother pearl shell, and lauhala, which is this woven piece. This represents not only Tahitian dancing and its purpose, but the Polynesian culture as well. By learning more about the history of Polynesian dance culture, you will not only have good knowledge of my background in culture, but a better understanding of Polynesian dancing itself. First, I will talk about the history of Polynesian Tahitian dance and its purpose. Then I will discuss how I identify with this culture and dance. Polynesian dance tells of its own history through chant and dance that's been passed down from generation to generation. Did you know that dancing has been part of the Polynesian culture at least 5 times longer than the Western classical ballet? In the early age of Polynesia, dancing was not just a form of entertainment and art, but it also served as a direct link to all aspects in life as was a symbolic and significant representations of different events and aspects of Polynesian culture. Native Polynesians had different dances for several different occasions. For instance, there are dances which were to be performed to greet guests at an official ceremony, or there are some dances that were more personal, where people would dance to challenge an opponent to combat or even to induce a potential mate. Other dances were specifically designated for prayer and worship ceremonies. Tahitian myths and legends were acted out and interpreted through traditional dance. Today, dance is still accompanied by traditional musical instruments such as thunderous drums, the pu or the conch shell, harmonious vivol or the nasal flutes. In addition, the skills of the ancestors' artistry are kept sacred and passed on by both the guardians of tradition and the matriarchs of the Polynesian society, as well as by skilled craftsmen. These skilled items passed down from ancient times include weaving, quilting, wooden sculptures, drums, the tapa, which is a type of Polynesian linen made from tree bark, and carvings and hand-dyed pareos such as the one that I'm wearing right now. I have just discussed the history of Polynesian dance and its different purposes and meaning. I will now tell you how I identify with this culture. I have a passion and love for dance, but I'm also a Filipino, Romanian, and Hawaiian. So I can identify with this culture not only through dance, but through ethnicity as well. I chose to present this wrist piece and prayer for my cultural artifact, first because I handmade this wrist piece, and also because I wore these items at my first high school performance. I will forever treasure these because it reminds me of the beautiful history of my culture and will never forget the meaning of dance. These also represent an escape because when I dance, I feel as it is a temporary escape from reality. Dancing is also an avenue of expressing myself. And sometimes I'll even wear pareos just on a regular day. It's not only used for dance, but is also part of traditional Polynesian clothing. And by wearing these traditional clothing, I show pride in my culture, and I can also connect with others who share the same culture through clothing. I started hula dancing when I was a little girl, and I used to perform at social events such as church, family parties, or even weddings. I always love the feeling of being able to do what I love while receiving the cheerful and loud encouragement and energy from the audience, especially at family parties when I received money while I performed. In high school, I joined the Polynesian Club, and I was also able to meet more people who wasn't required to actually be Polynesian, but share the same love of the culture and dance such as I did. Through dance, I feel more connected with my people and culture while paying homage to my ancestors. After years of dancing, I have come to love and appreciate my culture and dancing more and more. Now you should have a much better understanding of the Polynesian dancing culture that it represents. I began with discussing the history of Polynesian dance, its meanings, and how tradition has been passed down through the centuries. I then informed you about my experience and interpretation of dance and what it means to me. Cultural dancing is the language of the heart and the heartbeat of the Polynesian people. This was said by King Kalakaua in 1880. And so now I'm going to do a little sample of